So look, let me ask you a question. Do you think you should take advice from someone who's broke when they tell you money cannot buy happiness? Well, of course not.
After gaining over 500,000 subscribers in the past 3 months, I think it's safe to say Iman Gadzhi has become one of the leaders of the finance niche here on YouTube. Over the last year, the successful entrepreneur and digital marketing guru has struck gold after taking the lead as CEO of IAG Media and Grow Your Agency. He has amassed more than 931,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, where he uploads videos documenting his success as well as spilling the tea on a lot of business advice. Sounds like a made-up wonderland, but things were always sunshine and rainbows for a young Iman. His cherished memories of his carefree youth faded rapidly. He was dealt the card of starting in a little town in South Russia called Dagestansky Ogni. He describes his father as an abusive alcoholic where his mother cut all ties with before Iman was even born. Iman was raised by his mother alone, and his childhood was marked by some challenging circumstances. As described in Iman's early YouTube videos, he had an ambition since he was a kid of becoming a professional football player, but quickly had to face the reality that he just wasn't good enough to make anything of the sport. Therefore, he signed up for an app called Instagram, realizing the demand for social media, where he quickly decided to grow and sell niched accounts. For someone of the age of 15, it was quite impressive and seemed to have generated a respectable amount of revenue. 3 weeks before he signed his life-changing contract with Athlete, he made a promise to himself stating that he'd abandon his education if he could convince sufficient customers to pay him on a contractual basis to cover his overhead costs and rents. Athlete was the fulfillment of that agreement. He had reached the amount that he needed to withdraw from the competition after signing Athlete and 2 additional clients within the same time frame of just 14 days. The next step was the logistical nightmare of going to the council, appealing to his school, and trying to find a method to drop out of school when he was just 17 years old. After 2 to 3 weeks of trying, he was finally successful, and on the last day of school, he walked through the doors for the very last time. When he dropped out of school, he experienced a level of worry and uncertainty that he had never felt before in his life. He recalled going about the Boltons in London, staring at the homes with tears in his eyes as he questioned if he was about to throw away the education to which his mother had devoted her whole life for. Keep in mind, Iman's dedicated mother worked 3 jobs to ensure he would make something for them, which he would soon accomplish. This whole Instagram finessing didn't last all that long though, because in a single mistake of judgment, he wasted a substantial amount of money on an investment in a single account, in which ended up being a critical loss. He was undeterred and immediately began scraping around for fresh opportunities to earn money. He realized he had a genuine passion for physical fitness, in which he would spend days and nights reading personal training books. After this education, he would pressure his friends' and parents into letting him train their children. He felt that he was a real businessman, even though he had only earned a few £100 each month from doing this. As a result, he decided to make an investment in himself and purchase a Canon E400 camera. He put that item through its paces, staged photo sessions wherever he could find suitable locations, and made an effort to master a new skill. In the meanwhile, he had another brilliant idea. At this time, he was still playing semi-professional football, and since he had some knowledge of social media, he had always informed the owner of the club that their social media channels were awful and that he could do a better job managing them himself. It was an entire 7 months until he got his next client. Most people would have given up at this point, but he was hooked. He kept pressing and pressing until he finally landed a meeting with a company called Athlete. He showed up at their swanky London office and instantly felt chills down his spine. By the end of the meeting, the founder Sean was asking him to send over a proposal. Now he had a bit more of an idea about what he could charge and what other companies did too, so he sent over a quote of $1,900 a month, a number that he threw out of expectations to a negotiation down to $1,000. As he left for lunch, he refreshed his email, and Sean had written him back with just 2 words: "Call me." He was sitting on the curb of the street outside, using his phone as a hotspot with his computer. As he worked through the details, Sean said, "Okay, let's get started." He ran inside and hugged his best friend with excitement. The entire hall looked at him as he was screaming and shouting in victory. This was the turning point of his agency career. Things were only going to become harder in the next 2 weeks. He went to sign his second client for $1,500 and the other for $750. Within 14 days, he went from $700 per month to an astonishing $4,000 per month with just 3 clients. After stepping out of school, he quickly found success in the business world with customers such as Zebra Fuel and Furrow Systems. Soon later, everything came to an abrupt end. He couldn't provide the companies a sustainable return on investment, although he was fashionably talented at reporting a delightful engagement on their social platforms, which will be a foreshadow of his near future. As a result of these bad returns, he spent the subsequent 6 months trying to market Facebook advertising services, but was unsuccessful. He participated in several coaching sessions and went to great lengths to complete all available training to make it work for him. It wasn't until he got on his laptop one day and pulled up Expedia to plan a surprise vacation for his mother. During this planning, he found that Expedia had generated $10 billion that year, despite having a very streamlined business operation. He was shocked. As he continued to read the piece, it gradually clicked on him that the purpose of Expedia's company was to link the client with the service while simultaneously enclosing the whole transaction inside the Expedia experience. Expedia did not own any hotels or airplanes, yet the company ultimately managed to generate more revenue than its competitors. He did not have to be the one to supply the Facebook advertising services, rather, he could hire someone else to do it, while he would instead spend the vast majority of his time running the business and making sales. As his agency developed, he was less than careful with his acquired fortune, so it wasn't long before people took note of his success since he's been documenting it on social media. At some point afterward, he ran across a YouTube viewer who had subscribed to his channel and requested if he could see the example of his agency's growth personally. Of course, he told him that, but he continued asking, "How much do you charge per hour?" All of this was surprising him. Although he was used to helping businesses, the idea of being asked for advice on expanding an agency was unknown to him. But the sum of $100 was his reply. After just 2 hours of tutoring, the same subscriber brought in his first $1,500 monthly customer. This sparked an idea for the young Iman, in which he could expand his business and show others his newfound skills. On that Wolf of Wall Street type beat. With that being said, there's only a certain amount of time in the day that you can spend educating others until you forget yourself, so he came up with a plan, a systemized, repeatable process through which a beginner may construct a successful firm. Thus, after testing the program with 50 participants, he published six-figure SMMA on February 1st, 2018, charging just under $1,000. Bringing it back to today, where Iman is extremely well respected on the internet, inspiring the youth, and his story has just started. Make sure to check Iman out on Instagram at Iman Gadzhi, where he hires people for his new venture, Grow Your Agency, and pays astronomical rates.